So, I want to talk about the most successful large carnivore on the planet. There are 900 million of them globally, and for some reason we just let them sleep right in our beds.
Right, yeah. We are talking about Canis lupus familiaris, but you're right. The sheer numbers are staggering.
They really are. And the mission of this deep dive into the source material is to help you stop looking at them as just your standard pets and start seeing them as an absolute biological masterpiece.
Exactly. We're covering everything from Ice Age history to modern neurobiology and even the environmental cost of keeping a literal predator in your living room.
And diving into the sources, the history is just so much messier than that classic story of, a wolf walking up to a campfire. The material points to a timeline they call dual domestication.
It's totally fascinating. New genomic evidence, including DNA from a 4,800-year-old dog found in an Irish tomb, suggests that lightning actually struck twice.
Meaning they didn't just emerge once.
Right. They likely evolved from two completely separate wolf populations, one in East Asia and one in Europe, over 12,000 years ago.
So the evolutionary niche was just so perfect that nature filled it twice.
It was inevitable, really. And the material explains it wasn't just them changing. They call it parallel evolution. Humans and dogs co-evolved together.
Yeah, as we became farmers, we both developed genetic adaptations to digest starch.
Yep. And neurologically, we both actually got rewired for less aggression.
Which reminds me of those Russian farm fox experiments mentioned in the notes. They prove that when you actively select for cameability, you actually lower the animal's cortisol levels.
Right, and the bizarre side effect is that the animal physically changes. They get floppy ears, softer coats.
They essentially become cute to survive.
They do. But here is the trap the sources warn about. We assume that because they are these cute pets, their breed tells us exactly who they are, but the data says breed is basically a ghost story.
Just a Victorian invention.
Exactly, only about 150 years old.
So relying on a breed standard to predict your dog's personality is essentially a crapshoot.
Largely, yes. Think of the breed as just the paint job on a car. It's new, it's aesthetic. But the engine, the chassis, that is the 10 major genetic lineages.
And those lineages are thousands of years old.
Right, and a new paint job doesn't change how the engine drives.
The herder lineage is such a perfect example of this engine at work. We tend to think sheepdogs herd because they are just smart, hardworking dogs, but the biology is much stranger. It is actually linked to maternal anxiety.
It really is. We essentially hijacked their brain's pathway for gathering puppies and just rerouted it.
So Border Collie isn't working the sheep.
No, it's frantically parenting them. It's just trying to keep the family together.
That completely recontextualizes the whole behavior. It's not a job, it's a compulsion. Contrast that with sighthounds. The data shows they have almost no robust behavioral genetic markers at all.
Right, sighthounds were bred purely for biomechanics, lung capacity and speed. So one is a neurotic parent, the other is just a biological race car.
But regardless of the engine, the bond we have with them is deeply chemical, the oxytocin loop.
Exactly. When you stare into a dog's eyes, both of you release oxytocin. It is the exact same chemical feedback loop that bonds a mother and an infant.
And their sensory capabilities are just wild. We have 6 million olfactory receptors. They have 300 million.
Which is massive.
And we're finally utilizing it. The sources highlight Bumper and Peanut, these medical detection dogs, who detected Parkinson's disease on skin swabs with 98% specificity.
That is better than most lab technology, and just owning one changes your own biology. American Heart Association data shows dog owners have lower blood pressure and better survival rates after heart attacks.
You are essentially carrying around a fuzzy biological life support system.
You really are.
But that bond has led to some serious blind spots. We love them so much we've created an ethical crisis with fad breeding.
The dark side of that cuteness selection. We have prioritized aesthetics over biology. Breeds like French bulldogs and pugs have been bred for such flat faces they can barely breathe.
It's become a severe welfare issue. The material notes we're seeing legislative crackdowns coming in 2025 and 2026 to regulate those extreme conformations.
And there is an environmental cost to that 900 million number, too.
Yeah, I was shocked to read that U.S. pets consume as many calories as the entire population of France.
It is a massive carbon paw print. They are carnivores. The data from the sources suggests that to make this sustainable, we might need to shift toward insect-based or vegan diets for dogs.
And just to be clear to you listening, we're not taking a stance on that, just relaying what the sources suggest is a way to lower the impact of producing all that meat while keeping the population healthy.
Exactly. It's just what the current data points to.
It really seems like we have shifted from viewing them as pets to partners, But that partnership requires us to make some hard choices.
It does. And if we connect this all back to the bigger picture, it forces you to completely rethink the hierarchy.
I mean,
Well, consider this final thought to explore on your own. We think we mastered nature by domesticating the wolf. But if our evolution is so tightly wound with theirs, if they lower our blood pressure, protect our crops, and alter our social structures, did we really shape them? Or have they actually domesticated us to ensure their own survival?